Hello everyone, millions of his fans around the world, even 45 years after his death, still recognize him as the greatest martial artist in history and the main inspiration for an entire generation. To achieve so much, to rethink the genre of cinema and, in principle, to acquaint the mass audience with the truth, beauty, and effectiveness of martial arts is truly incomprehensible. Our hero today, Bruce Lee, really died too early, did not have time to implement many projects. But it was his sudden and premature death that gave rise to many myths and legends around his vivid image. This is not a retelling of a biography, but rather an attempt to look at the life of the great master through the eyes of those who were lucky enough to know Bruce personally, train with him, work with him, and share his philosophy of attitude to the world and unique style, to understand where his story is replaced by deception and speculation. And where is the truth about the legendary fighter? If you look at the early style of the fighter, he was a mixture of Tai Chi, which was practiced by his father, as well as Wing Chun, which was brought to perfection. Bruce showed himself to be a talented student, as confirmed by his mentor of those times, Sukhum Sun. It takes an ordinary person from 3 to 4 weeks to learn my basic movement, but for this it took Bruce only 3 nights. Just imagine the difference to study the movements. Inspired by the dream of demonstrating techniques on the big screen, Bruce still could not focus only on studying martial arts. He also practiced dancing and even won a local championship. Subsequently taught them. After moving to the United States, he worked part-time in a restaurant and already gave martial arts lessons. The deeper his knowledge of the use of punches became and the extent to which his understanding of combat was complemented by the knowledge gained at the Faculty of Philosophy, the more Bruce was inclined to create his own style. He said, "I no longer believe in styles. I don't believe that there is a Chinese way of fighting or a Japanese way of fighting or any other way. If a person had 3 or 4 arms, but he would fight in some other way. But if we all have only 2 arms and 2 leg styles can't be that much different from each other. People, they do not share their own fighting styles, but doctrines that become dogmas and you cannot change them." Lee respected the traditions of martial arts, but did not understand why the masters were overly focused on them, their severity, their canon, and sacrificing a deeper knowledge of styles. Insight into the true essence of martial art, he developed his own style based on the principle of conservation of energy, as well as maximum simplicity and practicality. Plus, as he said, only one thing defines the technique of combat: it must be effective. In relation to the enemy, everything that is adornment and moves away from maximum speed was superfluous. He leaves only those techniques that he considers effective in a real situation, when it was necessary to focus not on defense, but on the attack that precedes the enemy's attack. The style was born. Jeet Kune Do. Its essence was an absolute freedom of reaction to the actions of the enemy. Bruce said that you cannot take everything that is happening literally. You cannot react to the opponent's initiative in only one way. For the first time, Lee presented his skills in an early book in 1963. He also illustrated everything with precise drawings that emphasized every nuance of the text. In the 67th year, at a karate tournament, he proposed the concept of contact combat based on Jeet Kune Do, but not everyone liked Bruce's departure from tradition. He was condemned not only by many masters in the East, but also by the very IP man who was against Lee's intention to make Hollywood the base for his own promotion in the film industry. The press also condemned in the West. The Chinese community in San Francisco was against Lee taking those who wanted to study martial arts into his groups without any racial divisions, making the teaching open to all. However, he solved this problem very simply, invited critics to him, defeated their best master, and thereby proved his right to teach Kung Fu according to his own understanding. At 70, he realizes no matter how fresh his ideas, clear intentions, and effective techniques are, Hollywood is not ready to accept him. First of all, as a Chinese man who has a very narrow and stereotypical image on the screens. This is when they depict some bouncing guy with pigtails and slanted eyes. He regretted this, but did not condemn them. because exactly the same thing happens in Hong Kong if you are a foreigner. And so Bruce decided to return to Hong Kong and declare himself there so loudly that the West itself coveted his movie character. Bruce was very demanding of himself. He started in the West as an unknown Chinese, but demanded from himself only maximum success, this perfection in movements. In control of his body and the skill that he eventually achieved it was inspiring. Becoming an innovator, he showed the world martial art in a completely different way. People first noticed and then fell in love with him, but the essence was not only in the techniques themselves, but also in how Lee showed them, how he achieved perfection in the visualization of his art. It was Bruce who at one time conveyed the idea that it was not enough to shoot a complete and vivid battle scene. A master of martial arts, it was necessary to show his blow so skillfully, in order for the audience in cinemas to feel its power, as if they were nearby in reality. Only selected frames were included in the final version of the film to achieve such an effect. A pedantic approach to working in the frame were the signature features of the new star of the genre. But whether inspired not only by his skills and in-depth analysis of combat, but also by the physical form with which any legends are not associated. It's not for nothing that bodybuilding icon Arnold Schwarzenegger called Bruce's body the standard for the complete absence of excess body fat. There is an opinion that Bruce, with his height of about 171 centimeters and weight from 57 to 65 kilograms, ate poorly since childhood, and that it became so much a habit of his that even after becoming a popular actor, he still limited himself in food until he finally reached a new level of training. In subsequent films, he demonstrated the maximum of his form, which is especially striking in The Way of the Dragon. Bruce basically set the trend for active training, including with iron, to increase efficiency in martial arts. Bruce Lee became a hero of his time. The excitement around the film starring him was so great that sometimes the screening of films was suspended while the police tried to deal with traffic jams and crowds of people who were pulling into the cinema, and therefore we can only imagine what a shock for many was the sudden death of Bruce. The reasons that we will not focus on because the version is already known. Swelling of the brain after the body's reaction to drugs. Documentary chronicles will remain unverified, showing footage from his funeral when tens of thousands of people gathered at the procession. In many ways, Bruce's last film, The Game of Death, is shrouded in mysteries, much of the material of which was lost for many years and then unexpectedly discovered. But the final version of the film was based on a completely different scenario, which was due, among other things, to the fact that the picture was shot intermittently and in reverse sequence of events prescribed from the original plot. Bruce's death at the age of 32 gave rise to a lot of rumors and myths around his name. No matter how incredible they become, years later, any doubt about their veracity was perceived as an insult to Lee's memory. And yet the video where Bruce allegedly plays table tennis hitting a ball with nunchucks or sets fire to matches with a lightning wave of the same weapon is nothing more than commercials filmed in the 2000s. A flying ball or flash is the result of editing. Lee's contemporaries claimed that he could hold a 32-kilogram kettlebell at arm's length for several seconds, that the height of his vertical jump was more than 2 meters. And a 300-kilogram bag from his blow flew to the side like a ball. On one finger he was able to do push-ups more than 50 times. I'm not going to question these facts, but I will note that Lee usually recorded all his achievements and abilities on camera. And although the same 1-inch punch and several repetitions of the most difficult push-ups were filmed, a significant part of the abilities attributed to him are not documented. Which, however, does not deny that in theory Lee was capable of it. Being a recognized martial artist and a professional at demonstrating punches on camera, Bruce has not held a single competitive match in his entire life, compared to the same Chuck Norris, whom many call Bruce's disciple, which to a certain extent does not correspond to the facts. There are few recordings of Lee's demonstration performances on the network. There is evidence that he conducted closed sparring with masters from all over the world, But the truth is that he did not participate in real competitive fights. This does not mean that Bruce's style would not be effective within the framework of the tournament, but the truth is that everything conversations about real fights are legends, as well as assumptions about how he would look against modern mixed martial arts stars, only assumptions of which, however, are inevitable when it comes to a legend of Bruce's scale. Moreover, the fighter continues to inspire followers even in our time. In this issue, I did not seek to cover every page of Bruce's life, since much was said before me. I wanted rather to try to recall what features made Bruce Lee a legend and reveal various facts from his unfortunately short life. Right, which film with Bruce you saw first? What impression did he make on you? And also whether his philosophy influenced you. How do you want to learn how to win, but you don't recognize the possibility of losing? Learning to die means getting rid of death. Thank you to everyone who appreciated my efforts. Subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. See you very soon.